Don't have the same freedom of speech laws that they have in the United States, and the reason for that is that we want to hold together our multicultural community and have people live in peace, free from the kind of vilification and hatred that we do see around the world.
We are getting a lot of very bad international publicity over what Mr. Premier Minns has said about how Australians do not need free speech because we're multicultural. And I see that the Treasury...
That was such a stupid statement from... We don't need free speech because we're multicultural. What the hell does that even mean? Oh my God, we must be a laughing stock. G'day everyone, welcome back to another video. Now, lots happening with free speech in Australia. Since the Bondi attack, there's been so many things about gun control, free speech, the far right. Not so much about the crazy left, but you know, that's the politician side. In my opinion. Got to be careful with the free speech now. But the New South Wales Premier Chris has come out speaking about how he wants to change the free speech laws, or the hate speech laws as they call it, saying we're nothing like America, which isn't really a good thing to, you know, flaunt. America is great that they have that strong free speech law because it protects so many people and keeps their country great because so many people can have a different opinion. And I still think we do have strong free speech laws at this stage. But with the laws and the fear that they're trying to bring in, we've got to be very careful. And to be fair, in America, if you're going out there, you know, promoting violence, that's not free speech either. You can still get arrested for that because inciting violence isn't free speech. And I don't think anyone should do it.
There's been some that have been agitating in the Parliament to nullify the laws, to remove them off the statute books. Think about what kind of toxic message that would send to the New South Wales community. And I think the advocates for those changes need to explain, what do they want people to have the right to say? What kind of racist abuse do they want to see or be able to lawfully see on the streets of Sydney? I recognise, and I've fully said...
I don't think anyone wants anything like that on the streets of Sydney. But what he's saying really isn't... The groups, I got a little clip of someone in Parliament they're stopping these laws going through the other side. But they're scared of letting the government decide what is hate speech and all this, just when Aussies want to be passionate and say their truths. Because we do know a lot of these politicians are very radical left, and if you have an Australian flag, they call you racist. So you've got to be very careful, and that's why people are scared to give the Australian government the power to dictate more on speech, just because they can pick and choose what is considered hate speech, when sometimes it might not be. You might just be calling out radical Muslims, radical Islam, you know, anyone radical from another country. It doesn't have to be a Muslim, but anyone you call out, they could say that's considered racist. When you're not calling out a whole group of people, you're just calling out individual certain radical groups. So, yeah.
From the beginning, that we don't have the same freedom of speech laws that they have in the United States, and the reason for that is that we want to hold together our multicultural community and have people live in peace, free from the kind of vilification and hatred that we do see around the world.
So I want to listen to that again. What is he trying to say? We have multiculturalism, so you can't have strong free speech.
Our multicultural community and have people live in peace, free from the kind of vilification and hatred that we do see around the world.
So he's saying because we're multicultural, we need tougher speech laws, because if you have free speech, people don't get along. So we need to force people into multiculturalism, and if they don't like it, they're going to be locked up. Obviously, that's putting a lot of words in his mouth. I'm not saying that's what he's saying, but it sure does sound like that. And if you need to have so many laws to get communities to get along because multiculturalism isn't working, it's bad. And multiculturalism does work, I believe, from the right cultures. If you have a culture that is against the Australian way of life and doesn't want to assimilate to that, that's when multiculturalism doesn't work. Because we couldn't go over to that country and say, I want it like this. I want it like Australia. I want women to be able to vote. I want, you know, people to have rights. I want people to have free speech. You go over to that country, they might not like that. So, you know, it's just stupid. It's very scary, and I can see why the other group wants to stop them from bringing these laws, because they think they will abuse them. Let's check out what the other group had to say.
2-year sunset clause on the dreadful law that you have all just passed. It means that after 2 years, if you have hopefully come to your senses, We are getting a lot of very bad international publicity over what Mr Premier Minns has said about how Australians do not need free speech because we're multicultural. And I see that the Treasury...
That was such a stupid statement from... We don't need free speech because we're multicultural. What the hell does that even mean? Oh my God, we must be a laughing stock.
Treasurer is here, and I hope he's taking note because he may not be aware. I'd estimate 100 million people have seen Premier Minns' tweet in the last speech in the last day, saying that Australia is not open for free speech anymore. Do you think that's going to be good for investment in this state, Mr Treasurer? Do you think that's going to be good for our tourism? I don't think so.
What about the Greeks?
So let's have a 2-year sunset clause. And look, if it's so fantastic, if you all love basically fascism, this is what you're supporting, the government shutting up free speech. If you all think it's so fantastic, you can reapprove it in 2 years' time. Maybe you'll come to your senses by then. But anyway, I'm very proud to be standing with Mark Latham here, defending free speech, and the rest of you should be ashamed. This amendment's nice.
That was a great speech. He called it out for what it is. You are saying we don't need free speech because we're multiculturalism. I don't know if he misspoke, but that just sounds so bad. And what does that even mean? Because people can't get along and they're being violent towards each other, we have to shut them down. Maybe look at who you're bringing in the country. If the Australian people can't get along with other people that don't want to accept our culture, maybe don't bring them in our fucking country because they don't want to be Australian. It's just ridiculous. And I'm not naming any groups of people. I'm talking about people that come here that don't want to be Australian. And we shouldn't have laws to need to stop us from speaking up against people that hate our country. That's just ridiculous. Anyway, comment down below what you think. Like this video, share it around, because when you talk about this type of stuff, YouTube sometimes suppresses it. So keep up the support, keep growing this community, and let's speak up for Australia.